Hey everyone, I am Kari here on behalf of Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent, and this is the Cool Water Show. I am joined by none other than my co-host Katie. Katie, how are you on this fine Saturday evening?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. Like I told you earlier, I got a new laptop, which is a whole story. So I am feeling professional on the camera and very up close to the camera. So I am just great. I'm zooming in and out, trying to get comfortable. I'm just a joke right now. So yeah, I'm feeling a little weird, but otherwise I'm ready to talk some housewives because it's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute and you look great. You're killing it. Camera's great. It's all great.
I showered this morning. I've brushed my hair at least twice. So we're ready. We are
Yeah,
ready.
crushing it.
Okay, so I want to lead off. I didn't put this on the notes, but I want to lead off with you did something fun yesterday.
Oh, I did do something fun yesterday.
Can
I
you
did.
please, because I think this is exclusive content, so let's catch the people with the exclusive content right now. And
Yes.
will you tell all of our fans and friends what you got to do yesterday?
Yes, I will. So I won tickets to go see a taping or go, I guess, be in the audience of a taping for Andy Cohen's radio show, their holiday show. So I guess every year Andy Cohen does a Sirius XM radio show with Amy Sedaris for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to go. Unfortunately, it wasn't that exciting. I mean, it was exciting. It was really cool to be there, but we were kind of far back. It was like in a restaurant bar type of place. It was like a very New York vibe. It was in New York, but it
Mm-hmm.
was a very New Yorky vibe of like a dark, dim, almost like a jazz club kind of. That's what the vibe was. But what I will say, not related to Andy Cohen, I walked in, I was with my partner, Matt, and there was a big cardboard cutout of Chris Noth, who plays Mr. Big in Sex and the City. And he was like, "Is that Mr. Big?" And he was like holding liquor in the cardboard cutout. And then Matt was like, "Oh, Mr. Big, look at my tequila." And then I look, and Mr. Big is actually sitting at the bar right next to his cardboard cutout. And Matt is making fun of him verbally, openly, loudly right next to him. So, like, that's the thing that happened. And apparently he owned the bar. So we were in Mr. Big's bar. That was an exciting thing. And if you go to Andy Cohen's Instagram, there's a picture of him kissing Chris Noth on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and that we got to see it in person. But it was cool. It was a little hard to hear. Not too much Housewives gossip, a couple of questions, but like he kind of sidestepped a lot of it. Someone was like, "Who do you wish you could tell to their face that they're full of shit?" And he was like, "Anybody that's full of shit, I tell them that they're full of shit." Basically, he didn't really give too much.
Does he though?
I know. I was like, should I ask him a question and say, why didn't you hold Erica Jane more accountable? But I didn't. We were really far away too, anyway.
How did you win the tickets?
I got them through work actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And did Mr. Big respond at all to being made fun of
No,
within earshot?
no. But a lot of people were going up to him and saying like, "Can I take your picture?" and all this other stuff. And it's just weird timing because I'm watching And Just Like That, which I always just want to call Sex and the City because that's what it
Mm-hmm.
should just be called. So it's like we were just watching him and then we were in his bar with him standing right there. It was like very bizarre, weird timing.
So I've never watched Sex in the City. However, as you know, I just got a Peloton. And so
Yes.
Peloton keeps coming up on my Facebook
Yes.
because Facebook knows everything that happens in my
Yes.
life, right? And isn't there like a weird connection between those two as well?
There is. I won't spoil anything, but the first episode has a lot to do with the Peloton, is what I'll say. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh,
Mhm.
Mr. Big, as someone who's never watched an episode, I feel like I had heard of him recently, and that's why. It's because
Mhm.
he is part of the reason why Peloton keeps
Mhm.
coming up in a weird way on my Facebook
Yes.
newsfeed, besides the fact that I just bought one.
Yes.
Okay, well, that
I'm
was
excited
cool.
to talk to you about Peloton off the air.
Yes, I mean, or on, if anyone just
Oh,
wants to
I mean, if
hear us.
anybody's interested in Peloton content,
We'll
happy
have
to give it to them.
Yeah, we'll have a Peloton podcast
Mhm.
coming soon.
Maybe
All right,
my
well,
dream.
I am jealous that you got to go and do something cool like that. Did you like get to meet? Well, I know you've like met Andy before, right? Didn't you go to like a book signing?
I did go to a book signing before, but no, we didn't. It was very much like I thought it was going to be more like at a studio or something. I didn't realize it was
Mm-hmm.
going to be at this bar. So it was like, it was cool though. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, there's some exclusive content because I doubt that there's anyone else who has a Real Housewives podcast that got to go this last night. And if you did, shut up. I don't care. So,
I wish
uh,
I got to give more like interesting stuff that he said, but it was hard to hear and he didn't really say much about Housewives, unfortunately. It was people like calling in to his radio show asking him like questions about the holidays. A lot of people had questions for Amy Sedaris, but again, it was hard to hear, so I don't really
am
know
I
what they
dumb for
said.
not knowing who Amy Sedaris is?
No, you're not dumb. She was in Strangers with Candy. She was in I'll link you to a picture of her. I don't
Okay.
know. I can't think anything else off the top of my head that she was in.
All right. Well, then there's your exclusive Katie goes on Real Housewives Adventures um, content that you can't get anywhere else except here on the Cool Water Show. So now I think we should go straight into speaking of cool water, Salt Lake City. It has to be filled with cool water. It's like always snowing over
Yeah.
there. It's
Yeah,
always
the water
looks
must be
cold,
cool there. Yeah.
right? It might even be cold. I'm not
I
sure,
think
but
it is probably cold. There's a lot of winter activities happening in Salt Lake City. The water must be very cold.
also cold is the relationship between some of these women.
Yes.
So, uh, I just have Mary Crosby written down. Like it revolves around her right now, which is crazy because I don't know if you remember, but Jen Shaw got arrested like 2 episodes ago, and somehow the last like episode and a half has all been about Mary.
Yes, which is kind of wild to think about.
Right. Like why? Is it just
Right.
because it's like slow to I mean, I guess we kind of talked about that. Like Jen Shaw's not gonna admit anything. So I guess unless
Yeah.
something comes up that what is there to show where there's a lot more rumor mill type things with Mary
Right.
that I guess makes it more enjoyable to watch as opposed to Jen Shaw just denying things that are straight up truth. But
Right.
whatever. Um okay, first and foremost, I want to talk about Mary herself because she sucks. Like, I don't have a
She
better way of phrasing
sucks.
it.
She sucks.
So, fat shaming. She called Heather what, chubby this week?
Chubby. Yeah, she called her chubby, which is so just gross. Like it's just so gross.
And then I can't remember the context exactly, but she said something like negative about Mexicans, like not wanting to look like Mexicans in something. So,
Oh,
ethnically, you do you remember that part?
I don't. But again, I said I had to I have to
Yeah,
rewatch
right.
it. I'm not on
So,
top of my game this week as much as I usually am.
um, I watched all of the episodes on Thursday. So Nitro, my dog, turned 2 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday, Nitro.
And one of his favorite things to do is to lay on my bed and chew a bully stick while we watch Real Housewives.
So sweet.
I think it's because like yelling startles him. And so it
Hmm.
catches his attention. So he enjoys it because it's like it catches his attention and then like goes away and comes back somewhat regularly that like
Right.
he'll just lay there for a while and watch it. So
Aw.
that's how we celebrated his birthday was by watching all of the episodes I was responsible for watching this week.
What a dream
um,
birthday.
right? I mean, he lived the dream, and anyone who's jealous, you should be. So, yeah, she made a comment talking to someone in the kitchen. I can't remember who. So great coverage care, but
It's okay,
she
same.
she made like a insensitive comment that like the way it came out, it was she said something like don't want to look like Mexicans and then pause and it's like how are you finishing this sentence, lady? How? And the second part of it wasn't as offensive as like the cadence of the first half was,
Mhm.
I guess.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, it was still definitely negative, insensitive, and like right up Mary's alley in terms of how she speaks about people. And like,
Right.
let us not forget about how she said she was afraid of going to a 7-Eleven because there was black people standing outside of it.
Yes. She said that, yes.
I hate her. I don't like her. I didn't want her back after season 1, and she's still here. And now she's the cornerstone of what's going on. What are you feeling about Mary right now?
I think it's weird because you're right. Like her season 1 was bizarre. And then season 2 started and she was kind of like delivering. And I think we talked about it maybe last week or the week before that like she was actually like giving a lot this season.
Hmm.
And a lot of it did kind of revolve. Anything not Jen related has been revolving around Mary so far. So it's like, okay, I guess she was like giving us some stuff, but she's like scary also. Like the stuff that she's giving us is just her being scary. But I think because Kathy Hilton was kind of so eccentric in Beverly Hills, and then Mary started being so eccentric, a lot of people were like, yes, Mary's giving us like what we need. But like then she got like very scary very quickly. Like the beginning was kind of funny when she was like, oh yeah, these people died in a car accident, but I'm so excited to be here. And everybody's like, what is happening? Now it's like she's calling people chubby. She's saying offensive things. She's running a cult. She's a horrible person. It's like not funny anymore. It's like just scary now.
Yeah, and I think she lacks a complete self-awareness of
Yes.
all of this. She lives in her own world where she may or may not be God. At least she has God inside of her, and she worships the God inside of her, I think is something that she said.
I am like, yeah. So we're finally getting into these like cult allegations that we've been
Yes.
waiting for. And Cameron mortgaged his house, the Lisa's friend who
Hmm.
passed away, um, and gave her the money. And I guess it paid for her surgeries, is what we were told or led
Her
to believe.
the like not
Her
sweat
sweat, yeah, her, what were her odor glands? Is that
odor.
what she called them? Her odor
Maybe it
glands?
was, yeah. So she doesn't have body odor anymore. Was it like underneath her armpits? I don't know why I was thinking it was sweat glands on
Yes.
her hands, but yeah, I remember
Yes.
hearing that and being like, that is not a necessary surgery. I can steer you to the deodorant aisle in any
Yes.
pharmacy, grocery store, whatever you need. Like we got this covered for you. You do not need to
Right.
be stealing from people to not smell
Right.
bad.
People don't need to be mortgaging their homes to let you get surgery to remove your odor glands. And are they even called odor glands? I don't know. Like, is that the official name? I don't
I've
know.
never taken an anatomy class in my life as a math teacher, so unfortunately, like the most I know about the body is like the leg bone is connected to the knee bone song type of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm useless. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Me too. I don't know anything. That's more than I know, that song. So I don't even know this. I mean, I've heard the song, but I
Yeah,
can't
I
recite it.
would sing for you, but we currently have at least 3 live viewers, and I don't need all of them to leave all at once. So
Well, hi, all three of you.
yes,
Welcome.
thank you, and you are welcome for not singing. I have your best interests in mind. So yeah, she doesn't want to smell, and so she stole $300,000 from someone who mortgaged his house to be able to do that. Like, it's not even just like, hey, you know what? I have $300,000 to give you. It's
Just sitting
no,
around, you know?
I'm gonna worsen my life exponentially to make sure that your pits are not smelly.
It's just wild. It's wild.
Um, we have some inside info coming from none other than Greg McVean, who is also a math teacher and
Oh,
apparently knows how to work the internet better than
hi,
I do.
Greg.
Said that they're called scent glands. So there we
Oh, great.
go.
Okay. I do think she called them, she did call them odor glands, right? She didn't say sweat glands
Maybe. I mean, I
or
know.
scent glands.
I don't think I heard scent glands because I thought for some reason I was thinking sweat, but I think the odor, whatever it is, it was a
Yeah.
non-necessary procedure.
Right. Right.
Um, we we get more like about Mary from the other people in this episode because last episode we left and it was the powwow on the like the balcony
Yeah.
porch type of thing, and um it very much had like a very anti-Mary vibe at that
Yes.
point. But then Lisa, yes, Lisa,
Yes.
goes to Mary's room and is like, I'm going to figure it all out. I'm going to go ask her questions. And about 13 and a half seconds later, Lisa and Mary are best friends.
Which just it makes no sense because they've already gone at it a few times this season because in the party bus or limo or whatever, Mary said, this was a few episodes ago, said that drinking sparkling water hardens your ovaries. And Lisa said, I need to Google that. And then she was like, oh, you know, and they got into a fight because Lisa said she was going to Google that. And I don't believe that that's true, by the way. And similar to the odor gland situation, what's happening here?
Greg,
And it seemed
get
like they
on
were
it.
already like having tension. And then Lisa is the one who introduced Cameron into the show to say all these things about Mary. And now they're like besties. I don't understand.
that's the most wild part of this to me is like, yeah, I am concerned about my friend Cameron and the money that he gave, but also I'm going to accept this bag from Mary and I'm going to ask her these questions. And you know what? I have my friendship with Cameron, but I believe Mary too. And it's just
Right.
like, what, how, you are a bad friend. Like,
Yes.
you're
A
good
terrible
TV,
friend.
but awful friend. Who are,
Awful.
like, you have no loyalty. You literally
None.
went to like Cameron's arch enemy and was like, "Sup, girl?"
No loyalty whatsoever.
So currently, from a people standpoint, I'm out on Lisa just on. That's the thing is, I always view this stuff from like, would I want to be friends with this person? And it's not so
Mm.
much from the like overall entertainment factor. Like my allegiances within these shows bob and weave with who I think has the most allegiance to their friends.
That's fair. I think I view it from two. I view it from that lens, or like who I feel like I can relate to personality wise, which is not
Mhm.
many of them. And then also like who's giving me the most like exciting TV. And I
Mhm.
think Lisa's giving me a lot of exciting TV.
She is
So I'm
because
like
she's a
still
shitty friend.
in. Yeah. I'm like, I'm here for it. Not like I don't want to be your friend, but I'm here to watch her be a shitty friend to her friends.
Yes, I understand that entirely. I
Yeah.
mean, it's what she's been keeping things going in terms of
Yes.
drama, but
Hmm.
I just am mad at her for being just be a better friend. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Because like imagine someone did that to you. But anyway, I don't need to lecture her. Um so that night it was very much Whitney and Heather, I think, leading the charge of Mary. Like, we need to step back and reassess things about Mary. Um the next morning we get a little inside information from Whitney where she's like, so I heard Heather in the room talking
Yep.
with Mary and Lisa. So
This is
I
why we need Whitney on Big Brother.
dude,
Give
since you
her,
said
give it
that,
to her, give it to us. We need it. She would be great. She would be great.
since
I'm
you
gonna start a
said that,
campaign.
I have been like, oh wow, I think she's my favorite overall on this show.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Um and yeah, she's not dumb at
No, she's
all.
not.
And I like that she'll stand up for herself. But yeah, she was like, wait a second. Heather was right there with me being like, Mary's a psycho. She's
Right.
leading a cult and she's a bad person. And then all of a sudden is in the next room, like giggling with her at 2 a.m. What's going on?
Right.
Um, so we get a little bit of like an explanation on that. And how do you feel about, so before the morning meeting, how do you feel about the way that Heather and Whitney kind of like settled their whole, like, hey, were you being a shitty friend last night? Or like, what's going on? That whole situation.
You know, honestly, I don't remember a ton about the conversation. Didn't really like hit me and strike me as if it was anything groundbreaking. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I don't have a lot to say about it. But I think Whitney and Heather are always going to be each other's number one. So
Mm-hmm.
like they know how to work things out together in a way that, makes sense. And I know what the situation was, what that Mary brought Heather in, or Heather wanted to go to, I don't remember whose room they were in, but gave her a Louis Vuitton purse.
Yeah.
And that was like the reason that they were like chatting with each other. And
Yeah.
that's like a whole other like weird thing where Mary brought very expensive gifts for everybody, but didn't give one to Whitney. But like
Mm-hmm.
someone got a Chanel purse, someone got a Louis Vuitton purse, someone got a Chanel or whatever, Louis Vuitton hat or scarf
There
or
were
something.
shoes, like Jenny got
Shoes,
shoes.
Louis Vuitton shoes. Yeah, the whole thing is just feels like Mary's just has a garage sale at her home, and instead of selling things is just bringing them and gifting them to her friends, which I would take it.
Mary's love language is giving gifts.
Yes.
Mary's love language is also receiving gifts, apparently,
Yes.
that ruin people's lives.
Yes. But I do think that Whitney and Heather, I appreciate their friendship, even though I guess they're also cousins, but I don't think they knew that right away. I don't know. They don't,
Right. Didn't they like
it's
figure that
Utah.
out late? And then that was kind of a reason that Lisa was like out on them or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, there's probably a lot of cousins
Yeah,
within.
all the Mormonism and
Right. I don't understand it. I'm not judging. It's just
no.
here you go.
Mm.
All right. So the next morning, they kind of have like a team meeting, and it very much has more of a pro Mary vibe than it did the night before.
Yes. Yes.
To which Meredith is really driving the like, I'm not going to be out on Mary just because of what you're hearing and what's being said. And Lisa was like, yeah, I talked to her and I think things are fine. She's not running a cult. She's cool. I asked her. She told me no in a weird way. Like that's it. And Whitney kind of like sat there for a bit, and Heather then just was like, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on? Like, why is this different? Oh, Jenny just straight up sat there. I want to sidebar on Jenny real fast. What's she
Yeah.
doing? What is she doing?
I don't know. It's like I forget that she's there, but then I also kind of I feel like I'm trying to mentally put myself in Jenny's shoes, and she must feel so awkward because she doesn't
Right.
know these people, and all of these like really crazy things are happening, like Jen getting arrested, and now Mary's running a cult. So she's like, I'm
Yeah.
here, I
Yeah.
guess.
I'm,
What do
I'm
I
here for a
do?
pay.
Yeah. So I like feel for her, but she's not really giving us anything.
Yeah, I agree. And so I just wanted to address like, Jenny, we see you, but that's it. Like we literally
Right.
just see. We don't hear you. We would love to. Um so then Heather just like kind of storms out from this whole little powwow, being like, you all are doing exactly what we were talking about last night, which is not
Yep.
saying anything to Mary's face because you're afraid of her. And
Yep.
even when you were describing her, Katie, you're saying that she was scary. I I need I need more in depth on like, why is Mary perceived as scary? Is it
Yeah.
because they rhyme? What
Scary
if,
Mary.
yeah, I mean, if her name rhymed with terrifying, would we be calling her that instead? Um,
Probably.
what name is that? Anyway, no, that's
We'll find one. We'll find
why do
one.
you think that like this is the go-to word to describe her?
Well, so I don't know about the women on the show, right? Like I don't know
Hmm.
what their actual like ins and outs of their relationships are with her, but it feels like there's something underlying that they are so loyal to her, and it's not understandable from like the naked eye of
Hmm.
from like a viewer's perspective. Why is Meredith so like locked in on saying I'm not going to go against Mary? Why is everybody making it this big scary thing? For me, Mary seems scary because she is unhinged. Like she's saying things that are unhinged. I
Hmm.
feel like she's the type of housewife where you kind of like don't know what she's almost capable of, and that
Hmm.
is a scary. She like has a scary element to me. Where some of the others like I'm picturing if I knew her in person, I feel like she's unpredictable, and I don't vibe with unpredictable. Like that's
Yeah.
not I'm out on unpredictable. So that's what scares me about her.
Hmm. I wonder, like, does she have some sort of pull, say, power in Salt Lake City that Bravo isn't telling us on the show, but clearly as like residents of Salt Lake City that they know? Like, it just seems like there's a disconnect because for all these women who seem to be pretty vocal, like have big personalities, to then just kind of clamor up around her,
Yes.
why? Like, why is that happening? I don't understand. And I know like Whitney's been outspoken, so, and like Heather is standing up to her more. Um, but why is she like the Trunchbull of this situation? Like, this is Matilda. I genuinely don't see it. And I also, like, as someone who, people don't really intimidate me and I kind of enjoy confrontation, that I'm just sitting here being like, throw verbal bows.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I want this to go all out. But I do also wonder if it's because they know they're just going to run in circles in
Right.
trying to address Mary about it, because it's like, is it worth even calling her out? Because she never really like answers anything. She'll just like call you fat and say you drink too much.
Yeah.
And then, okay, here's a bag from a,
Yeah, she hits below the belt, and that's what I don't like about Mary is that she nothing it feels like nothing is off limits for her. And those like the type of people that like just can't like it's there's always a way to have a respectful confrontation, and
mhm.
Mary is all out on being respectful because I enjoy confrontation as well. I feel like that's how I thrive sometimes, but I'm always keep it at a level where I'm like not hitting below the belt, or at least I think
Mhm.
I do. And like Mary is like all goes out the window, especially if these women are your friends. Friends. I mean, we are led to believe that they're friends,
Mm-hmm.
but it's weird to me because even Whitney, who she said awful things to, kicked out of her event, told her to show up in like a mafia
This,
Halloween, a very scantily clad mafia Halloween costume when
yes.
she told everybody else to show up in actual clothes, is still like, Mary, I want to be your friend. And I'm like, why are you begging this woman to be her friend? Why are you doing this? I don't get it. What is it about her?
I don't know. And I'm hoping that we get either some social media exposure behind it or there's just some insight, because that to me is the hardest part of understanding this whole situation that's going on right now. Like, objectively, taking advantage of people in your church that you are the leader of is
Right.
not okay. Although I feel like that's just a lot of religion in itself, but that's
Yeah.
not this podcast. And then calling people fat, accusing them of being drunk all the time, or making racist and ethnically
Yep.
insensitive
Yep.
comments. Like, these are all objectively bad things. But for some reason, we don't get to Mary being objectively bad. It's just like there's some other buffer layer that can't be infiltrated yet. And I
Yeah.
wonder if it's because you only have Meredith, or you only have Whitney and Heather really pushing it, because Meredith is like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
She didn't terrorize my family for 2 years.
Low bar, but okay.
Yeah. And also, couldn't you have just like called up Jen yourself in that time and say, like, stop bullying my 21-year-old child?
Right.
You're an adult. But instead, like, let's hire a private investigator. Okay. So anyway, like, is it only because half of them? There's got to be more to this. That's it. There has to be more
Yeah.
that we
There
don't
just
know.
has to be more. Yeah. I think it goes deeper than we see. Maybe with some of it'll come out, but it feels like even with the Cameron stuff and Meredith still defending her and Watch What Happens Live when she was on, I don't think that we're going to see anything come of it.
Yeah.
Like maybe at the reunion we'll find something out. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. And I think the most disappointing person outside of Mary and all of this for me is Meredith,
Me
because
too.
I think how she's handling it is very hypocritical.
I agree.
For
I
you
agree.
to be like anti Jen Shaw through and through, and then Mary's okay. I don't know. Your morals are very different than mine, and it's hard for me to back anything she's really saying right now, which also kind of negates the intensity of like hatred she has for Jen for me, because where is this where in other places that it should be? It's not
Right.
like your distaste for someone is a finite resource. You can have an equal amount of distaste for both of these people who are both doing shitty things.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Something that I just added to the list that I of this episode that I forgot about until you said something that made me think of it. Um, Heather not met, but reunited with her sister after a ton of years. I can't remember
Yes.
how long they hadn't seen each other. I think in 8 years, but it's
Yeah,
basically
something
been
like
like
that.
a non-relationship for almost 20 years.
Mhm.
What do you think of this whole scene?
I thought it was interesting. I'm really enjoying Heather's kind of like journey out of the Mormon church. And I feel like she's enlightening me into a lot of the things that people in the Mormon religion deal with and follow and go through, just because not a religious person in general. And I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know the ins and outs of it all. So I find it very interesting. Um, and I'm happy that we got to see it, and I'm glad that they seem to be on the same page, and I guess it seems like a lot of it was around, like, not disappointing their dad,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was really interesting. I don't know, I like when we get to see, like, the realness of some of these women, and I feel like Heather gives that to us a lot, so I'm glad we got to see that scene. Excuse me.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And as like I have like an estranged sibling, so watching this scene was interesting from being in like a non-communication point of view, because it's like, oh well, like our situations are very different, but seeing this kind of just go smoothly was like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was her sister, if I would be able to approach the situation with as little hostility or hurt
Mhm.
or anger that she did. Like, I really respected how her sister handled
Me
everything.
too.
Um, I loved her joke when she like built up to like, all right, but we really need to talk about this. Stop drinking tequila and water, whatever it was. And she's like,
Yeah.
you need to stop this. Like, that was like the
Mhm.
most serious thing she said, which is kind of cool. And um, I do like how Heather is owning up to, like, yeah, I judged you. I was doing everything not for
Yep.
my own motives, but for to be the best Mormon and to make dad happy. And like the fact that it's taken me this long to do this, that's my bad entirely. And I want to keep like go forward positively. Like, I really respected how genuine it seemed, and
Yeah.
just it was a very positive for all the drama that's going on. This was a nice type of like settling of drama for me. I'm glad we got to see this on camera.
Me too. And I appreciate that they showed it and kind of like are letting us follow Heather's story. And I agree with you. I thought it was really just a positive, really good conversation of like her sister being honest in some of the things and Heather realizing all of the mistakes that she made or things that she did that maybe she didn't really believe in at the time or was led to believe that she should believe. And now she's kind of just like looking back on all of these things and kind of making amends. And I thought that was really cool.
And something that I appreciate about Heather is there was no excuses on her end.
Right. Right.
There was reasoning, which is different. Like, oh, well, I did it because like it wasn't a defending herself. It was like, yeah, this is why I did this. And like I see now that it was messed up. That I just respect that about anyone who can do that
Me
and
too.
doesn't blame it on anyone else or outside circumstances. So again, just Heather. It was just like Heather being Heather. And I think you bring up a great point that she's being very educational in
Yeah.
a non-directly educational way for those of
Yeah.
us who just know the Mormon church as just this like system and that's it.
Yeah.
We don't know many details to see her like leaving it. And I think because it is such a private organization, like Greg and I have a friend who left it as well, and he talked to us a lot about it, but there's still things that like he won't tell us, and
Right.
like even though he's left it. And so getting to see this from a different perspective is really cool, and I like what that brings to the show.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Do you have any other Salt Lake City comments, commentary, opinions?
I have a question for you. Would you have flown commercial or would you have taken the private jet?
See, I respect the hell out of Whitney and Heather for being like, yeah, private jet. Okay, this is how much I don't want to be around you. I
Yeah.
will go and fly a commercial flight because you all suck right now. I would do something like that, no hesitations asked. Like, I run to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah.
So I would have flown commercial. I would have flown basic economy with no carry-on bag. I'd have to pay for it myself. I
Yep.
wouldn't care versus having to spend time with people who I think are hypocritical.
Yeah.
So would you have done that?
Yeah, I think I would have. I definitely think I would have. And I saw Whitney on Watch What Happens Live, and she's like, "I'm TSA pre. I don't have to take my shoe," because they were like taking their shoes off at the
Yeah.
airport. That was
Oh
like their,
no.
yeah. Just like the rest of us peons have to do. But Whitney was like, "I'm TSA pre. I have all these things. Like, it's fine. I'm good. Like priority boarding." But apparently it was a very short flight. It was like an hour, 45 minutes or something like that. It was
Yeah,
short.
because what they were in Vail, Colorado, going to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
So not that I know where Vail is in reference of
No, I have no idea,
Colorado,
truly.
but I do know where the two states are on the map,
Yes.
and they share a border. So
Yeah, so I think it was close. Or
yeah,
I would have rented a car, or I would have done something for sure.
yeah. I mean, that makes sense for you because I know that you're not like the biggest
Yes,
flying fan
I'm not.
anyway.
I'm
So
not.
could have been a nice ride. I mean, the scenery looked great, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking me that, making me consider I've flown first class once recently, and like
Ooh,
I don't know if I ever need to again.
really? Was it a short flight?
It was Chicago to New York.
Okay.
So it was like 2-ish hours or so.
Mhm.
Um, I did it to ball out because I won a $15,000 teaching award, and so I had told my
Ooh.
boyfriend that if I won it, I would take us on a nice trip. So I paid for us to fly first class there, and like he drank on the plane. I'm not big on drinking on planes
Mhm.
because of like concussion stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just like, oh yeah, there's this extra room. It's a little more comfortable, but was it worth all this extra money I paid? I don't think so. I could have probably
Yeah.
done something cooler with that money. I mean, if you can afford it, that's one thing, but I'm a
Yeah.
lowly teacher, so uh yeah, that's I don't know if I ever need to do it again. Have you flown first class?
I've never flown first class. I think if I ever did it, because I thought about doing it once, I think to maybe Florida or something, but I didn't
Mhm.
do it for the same reason. It's like for those short, like 2 hour flights, it's like not, I don't feel like it's worth it because it's just like you're right, it's a bigger seat and you're at the front of the plane. But I think for like a cross country flight or an international flight, that would be when you can like have that whole little area to yourself. If I could afford that, that I would do.
I worked at a summer camp for a long time, and one of the times I went to England, there was this girl who like she met one of the guys we worked with when he came to visit her friend, and so they were like kind of dating, and she went to see him over winter break when we were all there, and her dad is like vice president of Walmart. Like
Oh, shit.
he like bathes in money at night
Yeah.
essentially. um and so I think she flew like regular like economy there,
Hmm.
and we picked her up from the airport, so she like gets in the car, and the first thing she does is call her dad, and she's like, there's absolutely no way I'm not flying first class on the way home, like put it on the credit card now.
Oh my God.
That's what I thought of when you said that. I was just like,
Must be nice.
yeah. um
Must be nice.
I'm over here like eating ramen for the third day this week. So, anyway, all right, our next show up on the docket is the last of the Potomac reunion episodes. And this one's a little different than the typical because we had none other
Mhm.
than Nicki Minaj hosting. And last episode that we talked about, we were like, why? I know you are very
Yeah.
anti Nicki Minaj.
Yep.
I'm just not really pro problematic people. So
Yeah. Same.
um after seeing her episode, and we both admit right now we are having a hard time remembering this episode because
Yeah, I think it was what, 2 weeks ago, and we
yeah,
haven't rewatched, and because we missed recording last week.
right. So if this is a subpar review of it,
Yeah, we can keep it quick.
it's okay
Keep it quick and
because
brief.
Reddit says that it was a subpar episode anyway. So
Yeah,
we're just meeting the episode where it's at.
exactly. Shout out to our sponsors, the
Hmm.
subreddit.
I forgot to put the episode on, but I'm going to after this. I'm going to put the link to YouTube,
Oh yeah,
and
we should
we
start
need
doing
to
that.
because we like literally when I make the notes, I go to Reddit and I click the flare tags and run through the topics. So
Oh, that's so smart.
that's where I get the core of things. So it's really just everybody else's ideas. I'm plagiarizing the shit out of Reddit, and um, I'm sorry, but I have no
So
money.
you're giving
Don't sue me.
credit. You're
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
credit.
I will cite you APA format. It's fine. If you want a reference page, I'll link it at the end. It's cool. I have to do that all the time for my doctorate anyway. I can breeze through that. Okay. Nicki Minaj, how do you think she did as a host?
You know, I didn't love it. I didn't feel like she asked anything that was like super like, wow, we never would have gotten that if Nikki, like, she didn't, nothing came out of it where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she asked that. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of felt like she was trying to be a little shocking or trying to like rub the ladies the wrong way or something. And it just like kind of fell flat for me a little bit.
Hmm.
The one thing that I hated was that she made Candace sing at the end. Like, I didn't like that. I just, it felt like she was trying to embarrass her. And like, are we really bringing hosts on that want to just embarrass the women on the show? Like, is that what we're doing now? Because there's no purpose of that
Right.
for me. And Candace nailed it. I think she nailed it. She sounded amazing, and she made Nikki look like a fucking idiot.
Hmm. I do wish that for Candace's sake that she just was like, okay, let's go. So she didn't even like give Nicki Minaj the opportunity to
Mhm.
um have that like power over her, I guess.
Right.
Um But yeah, I thought that she like very much left Karen Huger alone.
She
That
did. She did.
she did not even go near that.
No.
And she kind of left Robin alone, but at the same time, what do you really go at Robin for?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I don't know.
um, she spent a lot of time on Giselle,
Yeah, she did. She did.
and she brought up the whole like booty pics
Yep.
Instagram
Which
things.
came from Reddit. That came from Reddit.
Yeah.
There are the Bravo Real Housewives subreddit found Eddie's following, or I mean, anybody can look
Yeah.
at it, but someone there made a post showing that he was following a bunch of booty models, and then blogs picked it up, and then it got to Wendy, and now he's unfollowed all these women. So it's like that came directly from a post on the Bravo Real Housewives subreddit. The impact.
My advice is make a burner account. Like
Yeah, like what are you
stop
doing?
following these things from it's
Yeah.
just not worth it, buddy. Like make a
Yeah, you're
different
on
account. You
TV,
know what?
dude.
Put it
What do you
under
Or just
here,
like
let
don't
me give you
just
a
go to the
hint.
account and don't like follow it. What do you like? That's what
Right.
you whatever.
Yeah, because not like likes show up anymore in terms of like
Right.
on someone's page. Do you remember
Right.
that? Yo,
Oh
that
my
was
God,
like
yeah, that used
the
to put people on
scene of
blast.
breakups. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Like we could have ran a podcast on like the beef
Mhm.
that came
Oh,
from
that would have been
the
great.
likes page. It was
Oh,
kind
the
of
good
sad when
old
they got
days.
rid of it, but at the same time, I understand getting rid of it.
Mhm.
Um, but Eddie, right? Eddie is her
Yes,
husband's name.
yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
I have a great idea for you. Make a new account. It's called The Michael Darby.
Amazing.
Put Michael's picture.
Amazing.
No one says a goddamn thing about it because, but you do have to like go and like the occasional picture of Juan Dixon to keep it on
Yeah,
brand,
yeah. Mhm,
and then
mhm.
you're fine. So
Yes.
you're welcome. I will charge you for the next idea, but that's the smartest thing I've done today.
Yeah, it's great. That's a great idea. He should absolutely do that.
What did you think of Wendy reading the cards? Did you think that this was like a big thing? Because like Giselle tweeted about it, saying like she would never have done that if it was Andy.
She wouldn't
Um,
have, though. I agree with that. I don't think she would have.
do you think it was a big
Um,
deal?
I feel like it was just a little tacky on her part, and I'm just done with like I don't need Wendy anymore. She's doing
Mhm.
too much. She's trying too much. She's making me cringe.
I saw her name for a potential celebrity reality TV show, which was was it? No. I'm sorry. I don't think it was Wendy. It was
It was Ebony.
Garcelle. No, Ebony?
Oh, well, I saw Ebony for the new Celebrity Survivor thing that's happening.
No, I saw that one. I feel like there was maybe it was Garcelle for something. I don't know. Okay, I rescind everything I just said, but I do remember seeing that there's like a celebrity survivor-ish type of show coming out. I still have to catch up on this season's Real Survivor. And then we will get Whitney on Celebrity Big Brother.
I'm gonna start a petition. I'm gonna start a change.org petition.
She could even potentially get away with like being on like a regular series and people
Yeah.
not know who she is. Like
Yeah, it's early enough.
yeah. I think that she's and I don't mean this in like an insulting way. It might come across as insulting, but I think she's kind of like normal blonde woman enough. You know,
Yes.
like she's very beautiful. I'm not saying that like
No, I know what you
but
mean though.
you can find other similar blonde women to her that aren't on reality TV. And you know what I mean? Like you might not be able to tell the difference between Whitney, the reality TV person,
Agreed.
and so she could even potentially get away with it. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I really don't have anything else from Potomac because partially because I don't remember it, which I know I'm a bad podcast host, but also just because that reunion was a whole presidential term. It was
It
so
was way
long.
too long. We got to be done with the 4-part reunions because you know what they can just do? Make the first part more exciting. We don't need the intro, blah, 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 fluff. Like, give us just 3 really meaty parts. We don't, because there's always one that's boring. There's
Mhm.
always one that's boring. We
Yeah.
don't need it. We don't need it.
Yeah, I agree. So, pour one out for this season of Potomac. It's been real.
Bye,
We will
ladies.
see you next season.
We'll miss you.
Hopefully, not all of you, but definitely a core of you, which
Yes.
opens up room for us to finally get to talk about Erica Jane soon,
Yes.
because we've been waiting on it.
Yes.
Oh, sidebar, did you see that Hulu had like a, which I think it was a 2020 special, like one about Jen Shah too?
I did. I didn't watch it yet, but
I've
I'll
been
watch it.
tempted, but I'm a very my my brain has some. I'm not OCD because I've seen people who are OCD and I do not have anything as extreme, but there are
Yeah.
some things I get very, very, very um like anal retentive about. And one
Mhm.
of them is like I'm currently in the middle of season 4, 3, 4, whatever of Atlanta, that like I will not watch any other show on any
Oh,
other
yeah.
streaming platform until I finish not just this season but this series, because
Yes.
I can't do it. My brain just will
No,
not
I'm
let
with you.
me.
I'm with you. I'm the same way.
That's the biggest reason why I haven't gone back and watched a challenge and um Survivor from this season, because I fell behind with all of the stuff that happened in like personal life at the
Yes.
beginning
Yeah.
of this school year, that it was like it became a binge show for me, as opposed to, okay, Wednesday at this time I'm going to sit down and watch it. That now I'm just like waiting for it to be done so I can go and
Yeah.
watch all of it, and I won't do that
I
until I
agree.
finish Atlanta, so might
I'm
be a
with you.
while. But yeah, I can't go and watch the Jen Shah thing till after. I'll report to you directly once I do.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet, but when you watch it, I'll watch it and then we can talk about it.
Cool. We should just have like a um like Criminals of Real Housewives
We
like
really
side
should.
episode.
We really should. Not a bad idea.
Write it down. We'll keep this for
Hmm.
later.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Our last one of this episode, and if you're following along, I know we normally talk about Girls Trip, but we decided with Potomac ending and having to cover 2 episodes of Orange County, and Salt Lake is already just a mess in itself that takes so much time, that we didn't want to do all of it. So what we can do is, with Potomac being gone, we'll bring a
Yes.
couple episodes of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, our
Real
husband.
good.
Yes, you do it so much better than I do. Um, for you next week, and maybe
And
what
I
we
think
can
this week
even.
was the last episode. I
Oh,
think this
was
Thursday. I
it?
haven't watched it yet, but I believe that this was the finale of it.
I think I might have stopped in the middle of the episode, in the middle of an episode on Thursday when Nitro and I met our like maximum Housewives
Mm-hmm.
time. Um, So I'm don't even know what episode I'm on. I think I'm on maybe 4 or so. And there's only what, 7 or 8?
I think there's yes.
Somewhere around
I
there?
think
Okay.
so. Somewhere around there. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so then we can probably even just like finish up House or
Yeah.
the next week. Cool. So if
Yeah.
you're following along, we are going straight to the end next week.
Love
So
it.
if you haven't watched it and want to, it's definitely worth watching. It's
It's probably
entertaining.
some of the best Housewives content we've gotten in a really long time. I think
Yeah.
right now we're at like top tier Housewives content. It's been a minute. I feel like we hit a little bit of a lull with that crappy New York season.
Mm-hmm.
Beverly Hills is always like kind of a lull anyway, because even if it's good, it's like never as good as it could be. But now, like Salt Lake City is great. The season of Potomac was great, even if the reunion was a little drawn
Yeah.
out. This is great. The OC it's hitting hard. The OC
Yes.
right out the gate. It's great. So I feel like we're in a good Bravo place right now. Like it feels
Mm-hmm.
like we're in a good spot.
Before we go on to Orange County, I just remembered something and I wish I'd written it down to say it, because I even thought I was like, I'll write this down. But why do all these women care about not offending a person who married her own grandfather?
I don't
That
know.
I
I don't
tweeted that while I was
know.
watching it. I was
I
like,
don't know.
wait a second. Can we? And Heather even brought it up in the thing. She's like, listen, we haven't even been pushing you on the fact that you married your step granddaddy.
Right?
So can you calm down, Mary? And I was like, yes,
This is
thank
why
you.
I'm
I
saying there's
tweeted
got to be
this.
something with Mary that we don't know, where she has all this power over these people. Because like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
So over my winter break, I'm learning a certain software that's for like jobs that I want to get.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't say that loud. No one I work with knows that. Anyway, so but the next software I'm going to master is the whole Adobe thing. And once I do, it might be late, but I don't care. I am photoshopping the shit out of There's Something About Mary, and I'm putting
Oh,
this
please,
Mary in.
yes.
And
Yes.
that's gonna be my motivation to learn Photoshop,
That should be
is
your
to do
first
that.
project.
It will be the project. I don't know if I'll do a
Amazing.
project after that. It will be that one. Because every time we say it, I'm just like in my head, that's what I just imagine, like this Mary putting like the hair gel in,
Yeah.
and like
Oh, good.
so anyway, back to Orange County. Like you said, like these first two episodes have been good.
I had such low hopes because the last season of Orange County was truly abysmal. But it turns out all you have to do is take out monster person Kelly
Mm-hmm.
Dodd, and we're firing on all cylinders right now. It's great. Even the housewives that were carried over, Emily, Gina, and Shannon, of course,
Mm-hmm.
are so much better now than they
Mm-hmm.
were. Like all of them could have gone if it were up to me. And now I'm like, I'm glad we have them. I'm glad we have those three.
All right, so I have to admit something.
Tell me.
The first episode starts, and it starts with Heather. Um and we get this, and then like when the Heather segment ends, my exact thought process was, I don't know a single other person on this show. I cannot remember one other person that is on this show right now. Like anyone could show up right now
Yeah.
and I'd be like, "Oh
Hmm.
yeah, you were on OC before this." I was
Hmm.
just like, I don't remember anybody from last season
Yeah. Yeah.
currently. And then I think Gina was next. And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, now I
Yeah.
remember." But there was a solid like 10, 15 seconds. I'm just like, have I watched this show
I know.
before?
It feels like
I
it's it,
couldn't.
it
I
does
couldn't.
kind of feel like it's new now. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's like it's just a weird vibe, but it's good. It's okay. I spent like 15 minutes before trying to remember Gina's name.
It's fine. I
I
like
was
her
like, what
though.
is
It's
her
just like
name?
I
Yes, I actually
just
do like her. I do like her.
forgot that anyone existed. Because when I think of OC, I think of Vicky, unfortunately, and I think of Tamara. And
Me
then
too.
after that, it's like
Me too.
I who? And Shannon's been on for like a decade, and I still don't connect her to this show. And but anyway, they've been doing great this season.
Yes.
I apologize to the three of you for forgetting you. My
It's
bad.
okay. They'll be fine.
No, I literally, even writing the notes, had to search like the cast page on
Yeah.
Housewives. I'm like, who are the women on this season? I
Yeah.
know this. I've watched 2 episodes. Uh I think we cannot talk about anything that monumental that happened in these 2 episodes until we talk about the elephant in Orange County, which is the house that Heather lives in. Because it is
Yes.
these like in the animal kingdom, like elephants are pretty fucking big, right?
Yep.
So is
Yep.
her house.
I have been waiting for this house tour for 5 years.
Yeah,
She left the
since they
show
had
5 years
their
ago as she was building the home, and I have been waiting with bated breath for 5 years to see the tour of this house. And let me tell you, it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait. I'm shocked. It's an embarrassment of riches. It's gigantic, too big. No one needs a house this big.
no,
It was a moment. It was a moment that'll go down in Housewives history. I believe it.
ever since they had their like cowboy themed like groundbreaking party,
With
whenever
David
that was.
Beador telling Heather to ride it, the
Yeah.
mechanical bull. Ugh, disgusting.
um oh yeah, because Tamara's, what was his name,
Eddie.
also was yelling things too. Oh yeah, I wanted to say Eddie, but I'm like, no wait, I've already had an Eddie this episode.
Oh yeah.
That he was like yelling things too, and like David Beador got all the heat for it because he
Yeah.
has much creepier vibes than Eddie does.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Unfortunate, but yeah, that house is something. It is so massive, and I just, how do you have that much money? Like, I get that your husband is a very famous plastic surgeon and she was an actress, but like, I
No, but
don't
she was that
know.
successful of an actress to
Right,
have that.
right.
Honestly, the finances don't make sense to me. great that but like not all doctors live in a home like that. So
Right.
wouldn't surprise me if
I
something came
mean,
out down the line 100 years from now that something shady's going on. I'm just saying, I don't know anything, but I wouldn't be surprised. I just want to put it on the record.
there was a post on Reddit that was like, where is this money coming from?
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so other people brought up how they have like a champagne line.
Mm.
Terry was on Botched. So
That's true. That's
that
true.
brought, there was that time frame where I actually thought that like Bravo was gearing up for a Dubrow divorce because when do you remember when
Mm,
Terry was like, yeah, I work all the time. I am never home. I never see my
yes.
kids. And quite
Yes.
frankly, I fucking love it. Like
Yep.
it's great.
Yep.
I'm like,
Hmm.
ooh, is this the downfall? Is this the demise? Not that I would want that for Heather, because I actually quite like and enjoy Heather. Um, but I did think at a point that like, oh shit's hitting the fan. But yeah,
I
that
hate Terry Dubrow. I just want to put out there that I hate him. He's one of my least favorite house husbands. I enjoy him on TV because like he gives us drama, but I don't like that he gives us drama because I feel like
mhm.
he wants to be a housewife and that I don't like that. Like,
Yeah, he has very
don't be
PK
so
vibes
involved.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that. Someone, well, actually, we'll get to this. I don't want to jump ahead. Okay, so the house, I think, even if you don't want to watch OC for whatever reasons,
Yeah, watch the house tour.
find the house tour because it is MTV Cribs on like gold steroids. It is
It made me
outrageous.
realize that I would be a terrible rich person. Heated towel drawer, never
Yeah,
thought that that could ever even be a thing. Like something like that
there's
would never make me, I would never think of something like that.
mhm.
I'm not made to have that much money.
There
Luckily, I probably never
is
will, so it's
yeah.
fine. It'll all work out. It'll all work out for me.
Good news. I am lined up to
Yeah,
be
good
poor
news.
for a
Never gonna
very
happen for
long
me, so it's
time.
all good.
So there is a whole like side of TikTok that it's things that I have in my house that just make sense, and it's not obviously as upscale as Heather Dubrow, but still some very like, oh, what a good
Oh, I'm gonna have to
idea.
deep dive on that.
Oh, please. It is
I'm
they
fascinated.
are very interesting things. One thing is like um an island in the kitchen where you kind of just like kick the bottom drawer with your foot so it like releases the lever and out comes the dog bowl and like water bowl. Yeah,
Oh,
so it's like not just like out in a mess. Like you can it's
that's
space.
nice.
Someone else had a like just a hot not like a hot water tap. Oh, well, yes, like
Like
a
a
hot
pot
water
filler?
tap. Well, they had a pop tap or a like seltzer tap and a hot tea type of I don't know. Anyway, if
Oh,
before you go to bed tonight, if you can find that part of TikTok, there is some stuff on there. It's like, oh, this is actually very genius. I just need the poor man's version of it. So,
yes, I will look that up for sure.
anyway, okay, we get reunited with Shannon, Gina, and Emily, as we said. And then we have a couple of new people. We have
Yes.
Noella and we have
Hmm.
Jen. And then there's Nicole, who is like new but not a castmate.
Yeah, I
And
didn't know because the first episode we didn't have taglines, right? Or something, or did I miss that? I think the taglines were new as of the second episode. But I
maybe I'm
thought
not
Nicole
good
was
at
like going to
that.
be a housewife, and I don't think that she is.
She's not on the cast.
She's just
She's
like
not on the
there.
cast page.
Okay.
There's some. I think what happened was there's what are those called? Like, uh, blind, silent, blind. What are they? You know when it's like here's a report about a celebrity, but
Oh,
it's
like a blind item?
thank you. That is.
Yeah.
I knew it had something like that.
Hmm.
I think there was some type of blind item that Kari, use your words. And non-initiated, implied. Here we go. I swear to God, I have 2 college degrees and I'm working on a third. Holy shit. That implied that one of the housewives is like gonna go through a messy divorce or something,
Oh, okay.
and that caused them to like stop recording the show. So there was like some rumors that it was gonna be Dr. Jen, some rumors that it was gonna be
Oh.
uh Nicole Weiss or whatever her last name is
Hmm.
now. And so that's my guess as to it.
Oh,
But
interesting. Okay.
that's again, thank you, sponsor Reddit, for that information. Um, what did you think of your first introduction of Noella and Jen? Well, we'll go
I
Noella first. So we don't have to. multi-part that.
There's something about Noella that is weird, but I can't put my finger on what it is, but I'm kind of fascinated by it, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
here for it. I think she's like a different vibe than what we've had traditionally in the OC, so I'm looking forward to seeing if she gives us anything interesting. Um, Dr. Jen, I like. I like her attitude. She feels very like normal. I feel like I could get along with her. She
Mm-hmm.
like I like that she seems very like driven and like very like no, I'm not using my words, but I like that she has a good presence about her. She seems like level-headed, good, like I like her. She seems like she's not going to take any shit either, which I'm into seeing. Also, her husband fascinates me. He
Yeah.
always has a fucking chihuahua. It's really
Mm-hmm.
weird, even at a restaurant. And I'm like, what is I need to know more about why these chihuahuas are here.
Yeah. I think that they're interesting because for such a rich area that the gender roles of like
Yeah.
breadwinner and stuff are reversed.
I
And
like that.
so
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting. Reddit exposed some like MAGA stuff about her. So just to put that
Ugh,
on the right, I don't want you. I would rather break your
no.
heart than have someone else do it, Katie. So just putting that on your radar. Um, I
No.
don't
I'm upset
know
about that.
how true it is, but it was
No, I'm
actually
sure it's
about
true. Everybody out there is like that
yeah.
in that area.
Um, she like didn't want to work with Bronwyn for plastic surgery stuff because she's too democratic, and there was
Oh,
some arguments because Dr. Jen was only showcasing like Republican people who have gotten surgery or plastic
great.
surgery from her. So,
Well, fuck
um,
Dr. Jen.
yeah. So I as she's it's so hard with this series especially because it's like you want to like some of them, and then if you are um someone who I think I can generalize for the two of us that we do strongly tie that like your politics tend to very much bleed into
Yeah.
um your personal and your ethics of like people that they're not
Yeah.
just politic issues but they are like human right issues, and so that it's hard to like separate those
It
two
is,
and
especially
you
just
want to
with how things
compartmentalize
are in
them.
life now.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so hey, look at this. Thank you to I don't want to mispronounce your name. um
Oh, Etienne.
Thank you.
Etienne,
So
hi.
she
She
said it
said that
was
was
false.
false. Okay.
Okay, good to know. I mean,
Okay, so there's some hope,
there's hope,
maybe?
or there's room for more to be exposed. And she
We'll
said that
see.
she blames it on an ex-employee looking for revenge.
Oh,
You know, so
interesting.
did Jen Shaw. So
That's a good point. That's a good
sorry.
point.
Anyway, I'm not they're just all in the same universe. I can't equate the two, but thank you for that critical information. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I was looking at that on Reddit before we started. Um yeah, I think that Jen will be good for the show. I do think she brings um some more type of like an updated Tamra type of vibe type of
Mhm.
way thing.
Mhm.
Like there's similarities there. I think I, when I saw Noella, I was like, if Vicky was still on the show, she would make it her personal
Hate.
mission to
Yes.
get her
Yes.
um off this. Like it
Yes.
would
She
be
would
done.
destroy her.
So
She would destroy her.
yeah, Noella is definitely interesting. I thought it was very unique of her to just go up and be like, "I'm bisexual too,
Yeah.
Heather's kid." Like, hey, my name is this, and this is what we have in common.
Yeah,
Like,
she's a little bit of a wackadoo.
yeah, but
We'll see how it goes.
it's not malicious
No, it didn't seem malicious at
wackadoo-ness.
all. No, no, no.
She did like side with Shannon through some things that you clearly know that she doesn't know how Shannon operates.
Well, so I want to talk about that. Well, what I want to say just more generally is that the vibe of this cast is more interesting to me than some other casts because I truly don't know that these women would be friends with each other except for Gina and
No.
Emily. They are friends, that's obvious,
Yeah.
but like obviously they hate Shannon and Shannon hates them. It's
Mm-hmm.
obvious.
Yeah.
Heather and Shannon don't like each other
Mm-hmm.
historically. They like smoothed it over toward the end of Heather's tenure, but it's like, did we need Shannon?
No, I didn't need her back. I
Yeah,
don't know
like I don't know if
why
we needed her.
Bravo is this has been a few seasons in a row. I'm like, oh, this is probably Shannon's last one. What
Yeah,
else can
me
she
too.
possibly?
I'm shocked that she didn't get the cut along with everybody else.
Yeah, her song and dance hasn't really changed. So
No.
I don't know.
And
I
it doesn't
definitely
feel like
need
she
her.
would naturally be friends with Noella. Like, that
No,
was a
no.
weird pairing to me. So,
And
I
I
don't
do
know. We'll
think
see
you
how it
bring
goes.
up a really good point, especially with OC more than anything, with it being like the original one, is
Mhm.
that group of women, season one, you could see all like sitting at their kids' soccer games together,
Yeah.
bitching about everything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
would genuinely go on family vacations with each other
Yep.
and this type of stuff. And now it's like, um, we've got we've got pieces that aren't fitting together. Oh, Nitro's making his episode appearance.
Uh-oh.
So sorry.
No.
Hey, shh. I know. We watched a lot of Housewives and you want to get to talk about it too. I'm so sorry that I've stifled your voice. Um, so yeah, it is very mismatched. I'm hoping, oh my gosh, that not the he that they are forced to be in situations that causes more bonds to happen. Like produce
Yeah.
these people to become friends because otherwise I think it'll be very evident that we're doing some surface level stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think we'll see how it goes. It kind of has felt that way in the OC for the last couple of seasons because it felt
Mhm.
like Gina and Emily never really connected with any of the other women. But it does feel like we're on a good track with Gina and Heather. So like hopefully that'll also kind of bring Emily in the mix
Yeah.
and we'll get to see like more genuine relationships form. Because I do feel like at the heart of some of these shows, it's like we want to see how these women interact with each other. We want to see their relationships evolve. And if there is no like foundational relationship with them, then it just doesn't feel like it's worth watching. And I feel like we've seen that with the last few seasons of
Mhm.
the OC specifically.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think this first episode more or less just set us up for like the whole second episode. Do you
Yes, they all kind of the two episodes kind of blended together. They were
Yeah,
like one
I
complete story to me, which I liked. I like that we're talking about them together because it feels like the first one was set up and then the second one we got to see everything kind of play out.
Yeah, it feels like when I teach like the first lesson of a new chapter in school that I have to like front load all this vocabulary and stuff so that I can use these words throughout the rest of the lessons. That's what it felt
Mhm.
like meeting these women, re-meeting Heather, especially if there's people who've like joined in and like
Yeah.
getting that there was a lot of foundations that needed to be provided about. I mean, you have two new technically, and then three if you count Nicole, and then four if you count Heather. That's over half of the cast that's new. That the first one I felt like was more of an introduction that really set us up for a quality second episode.
Yes.
So I think we
Absolutely.
should just like dive into the drama.
Well, the one thing I do want to ask you about is what do you, before we get into like the party of it all, but what do you think about Heather running into Shannon, Emily, and Gina drunk off their ass and then having to pay their bill because Shannon left her with the bill? Because that was a wild revelation to me where she's like, I
Mhm.
think you paid my bill. Like, were they that drunk that they don't remember paying their bill? Like, that, not
So
that I'm judging, like, live your life, but I was just, Shannon's drinking has come up in seasons past, and I
yeah,
was just surprised that in the first episode, it was like, yeah, we ran into each other off camera, hammered.
I'm here's why I'm a little skeptical of I believe that it happened.
Yeah.
However, I could see Heather going up and being like, let me just get theirs. It's not a big deal because
Okay. Okay.
you if they were seated at a table, it's one thing and they left, but if they were actually at the bar part, you run a tab.
Yeah,
You have a tab. There is a card on file. They're
that's
not
true.
letting you run up
That's
a
true.
couple $100 in drinks and there isn't a card on file. So,
Logistically, you're right.
um I don't know if I 100% believe that it was just like Heather being like, oh my God, my drunk friends. I guess I'll take
Yeah.
care of it as much as it was she saw them leave. And then maybe there was some interaction or something
Right.
of like,
Right. Right. Because it seemed like
mm,
Shannon paid her back.
yeah. And I think it could have been a more like, no, 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 I insist. Like, we'll just take care of
Yeah.
this Don't worry about it. Well, it's fine. Like, I could see something like that happening on Heather's end, because while I do like Heather, I also think she knows how to gather up the cons of someone so that when she
Yeah,
does
she wants that
get,
power dynamic.
yeah, when she does need to lay into someone, she doesn't have just what's happening in that moment. She can go back a few pages in the
Yeah,
book and be like, and by the way, remember when you scooted out of there hammered and I had to
right,
pay it? Like,
right.
but yeah, that the one thing that doesn't connect for me is like, unless they were at a table and they never physically went to the bar, I don't believe that there wasn't a card on file and they just could have ran it.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Thank you. This is what I get for dating someone in the service industry. Um, so we have to set it up when, okay, I'm mixing people up, but we have Heather who brings Nicole into the circle.
Yep.
And then does
Shannon knew Nicole from her kids' kindergarten or something like that.
right,
They
it
both
is
had kids in kindergarten or preschool or one of
a
those early grades
while.
together. Yeah, quite a while ago.
But the first time they actually see each other face to face is at Heather's party, right? It's just kind of like a
Yes.
connection through Heather of like, oh, is it this person? Was
Yes.
her maiden name this? Like, did she used to date
Yes.
Kid Rock this? Which,
Yes.
by the way, is
Okay.
wild in itself. Like,
Yeah. Also, ew. But
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So it seemed like Shannon was not sure if it was the same person, and then got confirmation that it was the same person and that she did know her.
And with knowing her, she then tells Gina and Emily, who I keep wanting to call Emily Heather. I typed in the notes 3 different times. I had to go back and change it. Gina and Emily, that she swears to secrecy, which, by the way, this is just like was all reminiscent of whatever experience they had where, like, didn't they all swear themselves to secrecy? Tamra, Vicky and her, and then like Vicky said something about it. Oh shoot, not Vicky. Tamra said something about it.
Is it about Shannon's divorce?
Maybe. No, I don't think it was Shannon's divorce. There was something. Anyway, they all did the like, we make a pact, we're never gonna bring this up, and then it got brought up. So um Shannon tells Gina and Emily that Nicole sued Terry Dubrow back in
Yes.
the day for a
Yes.
botched boob job, which is
Yes.
on brand for the TV show name. So,
Yes.
and this is a big deal to Shannon that she wants to keep quiet.
Yes.
So that's the foundation of this drama, right? Do you think Shannon should have just told Heather, or do you think she was produced not to?
I don't know. For me, I'm like, so this all blows up, right? Obviously, because it's gonna. But like, as the type of person I am, if I'm out of cocktails with people, I'm gonna gossip with them. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like, wait, I think I know this girl, and I'm pretty sure she sued Terry Dubrow, but like, don't mention that to her because like I don't know if it's you don't
Mm-hmm.
know how it could have happened, but I could see myself saying something like that to Emily and Gina.
Yeah.
Gina's name does not stick into my brain for some reason. I don't know why. But I could see myself being the Shannon in this situation. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I would have tried to like be like, we swore we wouldn't say anything. But maybe she was waiting for the right time. Maybe she was waiting to see like if she also didn't know if Heather knew about it and if they
Yeah.
were so I could see why it's like a little bit of a weird thing. I don't know. I don't think Shannon was like really trying to do anybody that dirty. And if she was, she's just making TV. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mad about it either way.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really weird how like upset Heather and oh my god, Gina and Emily were about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do they care? What are they so upset about?
I think it's because it's another like Shannon trying to manipulate people to do her dirty work for her.
Yeah,
Where, I mean, I can understand from their perspective of
but they did it.
I mean, yes, but I
So they
think,
didn't have to do it. That's the whole thing. Like, you know it's happening, then don't say anything.
right. I think Gina is very morally sound in terms
Mm,
of her morals and
yeah.
couldn't let that go. And I also think she wanted to get ahead of it because Emily brought up a good point. She's like, the way that this has all been phrased has been like, if it does end up coming up, Shannon can very much easily blame it on us. And I think that that Gina also was maybe selfishly wanting to get ahead of it, because Shannon has done that type of shit to people in the
Yeah.
past, where like it's been her in the background piping in these ideas, and someone else carries out the idea and it's like, yes, that person sucks and definitely not me.
Yeah.
I'm not an issue. I'm a good friend. I'm loyal.
Right.
um I am very easily the person that, like, it does not take much to instigate me. Shannon could get me to do some dumb shit. Like I would be the one who would be doing dumb things
Yeah.
on behalf of Shannon. Um so how Heather finds out that Nicole had sued her husband back in the day is that Gina goes up to her at the beginning of this $36,000 sushi party.
I I have so much, but we'll talk about the drama first, and then I want to talk about this party because
Yes. Um, she pulls her aside and essentially says, like, hey, just so you know, Nicole sued Terry, and like Shannon told us, and she swore us to secrecy. And I'm telling you because I think that as your new friend, I don't want to know this and start off on a lie with you.
yeah,
And I think you deserve to know.
yeah.
Um, do so you kind of already said, like, did Gina really even have to do this? Like, so how do you
Just
feel about
not the
Gina?
right time. Not the right
Yeah,
time.
I agree with that, that the timing wasn't good at all. But
It's also just to me like not. She didn't know if Heather knew. She doesn't know Heather well enough to know how Heather's going to react. It just seems weird to me that like she's so like I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved that she's involving herself like extremely. So
mhm,
it's just bizarre. It's just like what she's saying is one thing and then her actions are another thing. So it's just it's strange to me that she's like I can't believe Shannon would do this, but meanwhile she's like she's the one that's making it a big deal.
yeah. The thing that gets me the most is, clearly, if you're in this fucking mansion, the lawsuit did nothing to hurt this family
Right.
financially. Like,
And
they're
doctors get
fine.
sued all the time.
They're fine. Yeah. Doctors have malpractice insurance for this
Yes,
reason.
exactly.
But clearly, like, they're not out on the streets because this happened. Like,
No, they're
you
good.
just
It's
went
all good.
into all 28 rooms in their house or whatever. Like,
Right.
you saw the tour, Shannon. You saw the tour, Gina. Clearly,
Right.
it's they're okay.
It's all good. Everything's good. It's fine. It's fine.
Um, little side note was my job in college. I worked at the UConn Health Center, and I had to basically, like, whenever there was a new doctor that got hired, I had to fill out almost like a common app of applications for insurances that they'll take,
Hmm.
and which means I also had to put in their prior malpractice suits,
Ooh.
which was so fun to read.
Yeah, I
Um,
that sounds like fun.
the best one was the guy who did a full-on ACL operation on the wrong knee.
Oh
Not This is not an exaggeration.
my
Straight up
god.
wrong knee. Person woke up and was like, bruh.
Oh, that's
Like,
awful.
so, um,
Oh my god.
yeah, doctors
That's
get sued.
terrible.
Doctors get sued, and clearly, like,
Ooh.
they're rich as fuck. They're fine.
Yeah.
So that was something that the whole time I'm like, I don't really see why this matters that much.
No. It was a little weird. It was a little weird to me how like Emily and Gina kind of like took it and ran with it, but
Hmm.
listen, it made for good TV.
Oh,
It
it
made for
certainly
good
did.
TV.
Certainly did. So this goes down, and not Shannon, I'm sorry, Heather pulls like a Ramona at her birthday party, and she's like, shut it down. Like, we're not filming anymore. Um, or when like Denise would just be like, bravo,
Yeah.
bravo.
Yeah.
So it gets shut down. Did you think that it was like kind of cut weird? And because that came up on Reddit of like, all right, we're having this party, and then Heather's like, shut this shit down, and then all of a sudden they're kind of like back, and it's not as angry as you think it would be for someone who would yell
The
to
whole
shut down a
thing
whole
was
thing.
weird to me. The whole thing was weird. That was weird. Then like the Emily and Nicole of it all was really weird. And
I
like
can't wait to talk about that.
that all of it was very strange.
Yes.
And, like, why do you need to kick these people out of your house just because someone said something?
Right. And especially because you know how much it costs.
You know how $36,000 worth of sushi.
Right. And you're gonna
You had a fucking ice sculpture with your initials, and you're
initial.
kicking people out of your house?
Hmm.
It's wild. It's wild to
Um,
me.
yeah, you could invite me over, Heather. I love sushi.
I wanna know what happened to the sushi.
I would have eaten
Where did that
36,000.
36 Yeah, where did it go?
Yeah, I would have eaten it for you. Like,
Did they throw it out? Like, I wanna know. I need to know.
imagine.
Someone needs to
I
ask
don't
it.
know if
Heather
I
needs to.
want to know because I feel like any answer will make me mad. That
But,
doesn't
like, at least let
include.
the people who are working there, like, take it
Right.
home, and then they'll eat it, like, they're
Right.
where did it go?
Yeah.
I need to know.
Where in the world is Heather DeBro's sushi? That's
I hope so. I hope we find out. I hope that's a question at the reunion. I'm gonna
Oh, let's start tweeting Andy
Yeah,
now.
I'm gonna tweet Andy.
Okay, cool. Hey Andy, I was at your show on Friday.
I
Can you
should have
please
asked
answer this?
him.
That would have
I should
been
have raised my hand and been like,
yes.
"What happened to the sushi?
Where did it go? And if you
Where
don't
did
know,
it
please
go?"
find out. This is destroying my sushi loving soul.
It is.
All right, I got completely sidetracked about what we were setting up there. So, Heather shuts it down, right? And
Yeah.
then, I don't know. People, we get. I think the next thing that happens is that we have the Emily Nicole interaction, right? That is like
Yeah, I
with
think it's all
Ronan
happening, like, at once.
simultaneously.
Like, I
Yeah, there's
think
so much
Heather and
going
Shannon
on.
are kind of going at it, and then also, uh, Emily and Nicole are going at it together, and it feels like it's all kinda happening all at the same time.
Yeah. So if we were to focus in on the Emily Nicole interaction, first of all, Emily went straight fucking lawyer on this woman to start off the night before it even got hostile of just like, wow, your boobs look great.
That was so manipulative. Like, they were,
Uh-huh.
like, trying to get her to say that she had a botched boob job, and she did almost say it because she was like, "Oh, it's a whole story, very dramatic, whatever." But they were like and she was, like, feeling her up. It's like, "You just met her. Why are you
Yeah,
talking
there
about her
was
boob?" Like, it was
sexual
weird.
harassment and assault all in this
It
episode
was
by
weird. Yeah.
Emily.
Yeah.
She's like poking her. And
But
Emily's also like
meanwhile
much bigger than her, like height wise.
Yes.
That as a legal little person, when people use their height as like an
Yeah, it's
intimidation factor,
intimidating. Yeah.
it's I just find it enraging because it's like, give
Yeah.
me a chair so I can be eye to eye with you right now.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I just felt like it was kind of like down pointing at and like
Right.
literally poking her in the chest, not figuratively, literally poking her in the chest. That was too much. How
Yes.
did you expect her to talk to you after that interaction?
Right. Right. Bizarre.
But then we get to them sitting down at a table, couch area type of
Mhm.
place in whatever room they're in. The not the salon, but the salon, as
Yes.
Heather said. And they're going back and forth. Was anything like worthwhile even being said in their fight of just
Well, I
like
guess this is where she admitted that she
right?
did sue Terry Dubrow, but
Because did Emily just straight up ask her?
honestly, I don't even remember the sequence of events. I think
Yeah,
so. I
yeah. I
think
thought she
so.
was like, "Didn't you sue Terry?" Because then she was like,
Yes.
"Yes, because I was
My
a young
lawyer pressured
model.
me.
My
Yeah.
lawyer, yeah." So like,
Yeah.
I she did have the opportunity to explain herself, and then it just escalated.
I do wanna say Emily's really doing a lot for someone that doesn't wanna be involved in Shannon
Mhm,
drama. She's really doing a lot to get
mhm,
herself involved because she didn't need to approach her about the boob job. She didn't need to get all involved in this seated conversation. It's just like, if you don't wanna be involved, then don't be involved, and you're
mhm.
involving yourself pretty heavily right now.
Yeah, very much so. And then so they just start like yelling back and forth at each other.
This, like, got so out of hand, but
Yes.
I don't like Nicole, so I don't wanna say I agreed with her because, like, she said some pretty disgusting things to Emily,
Mhm,
but in this moment when she was like, "If I want your opinion, I'll ask for it," I was like, "Yeah, shut the fuck up, Emily. Just
mhm.
shut the fuck up. What you're this is not your business."
And what I appreciated was the musical scoring of this whole scene because you had like the intense argument music going. And then as soon as Nicole goes, so sit down, so sit down. And
It
Emily's
gives
just like,
me everything.
I am sitting. And the music changed to this like dopey type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
music in the back. That, first of all, I hate the expression sit down. Like, just
Yeah.
take a seat, whatever. Like,
Mhm.
you know what? I'm going to take a seat because my knees are tired. Like, shut up. Like, you're not
Yeah.
going to, you
Yeah.
telling me to sit down does not offend me in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Like, you using sit down as something to end or an
Mhm.
argument, I don't want to say an argument, but some sort of confrontation, right? Like, it just shows that you aren't ready for this.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
don't think you're ready for this jelly. So
Yes.
that, but then she kept continuing to say it, and even Gina's like, where do you want her to sit down? She's
Gina
like,
was the funniest here because she was like, she literally could not be more seated.
yeah,
Like, she physically can't sit down anymore.
she was doing this before you told her to.
Right.
So I mean, I was up until a point like, okay, Nicole, like, I get it. You are
Mhm.
being unnecessarily run through a gauntlet
Yeah.
here because of a decision that we don't really know much about. And the way you explained it, like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. I could see
Yeah.
why you did this. But then she told her to sit down. Just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And
What are you doing?
Emily, I mean, stormed off. She was heated.
Dude,
A little too heated for me. I was like, okay, what, like, let's relax, everybody. This is not that big of a deal. What are we doing here? We're
yeah.
storming out and also the reactions of everybody at the party were kind of hilarious. Like they
Yes.
kept giving us these really great reaction shots of all these other women at the party, and it was really making me happy to see how completely off the rails this whole situation seemed.
It had very much like homecoming dance vibes to me when
Mm,
like
mm,
boyfriend does something stupid and you're like, no, Gina, you're leaving with me right now because he was an idiot and he broke my heart, and like makes Gina like storm
yes.
off with her as she's like,
Yes.
and you're fucking ugly too, you're a
Yeah.
discount version of me. Like,
Right.
it had so much like high school vibes to
It
her
really did.
whole storm off that I was just like, wow, I saw this last time I chaperoned a dance. This is
Yeah.
crazy. Um, that they did get her to come back in, which um, I don't think much really happened with Emily after
No.
she came back. She was trying to like, okay, whatever. Like, she
Yeah, I
didn't
guess she
just,
said to Shannon that she was disappointed in her, but then she was
yeah.
like, "But you were right. She did sue Terry DeBar." I
Hmm.
guess they didn't believe it.
Oh yeah,
I
Emily
don't
did
know.
say that. She was like,
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was bullshit until
Yeah,
she
and she's
said
like,
it.
"But it was true." Yeah.
Um, we get a bit of like Gina trying to apologize, Shannon trying to apologize to Heather. Heather had stormed off. And then we get this whole little like meeting of the minds with Nicole, Terry,
Terry gets his moment.
yeah, and Heather, which was just like cheesy as fuck to me. In terms of the part where like, hey, you sued me, but like, thanks for dropping it. And then Terry and Heather like turn to each other and ha 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 ha. Ha. It was like straight out of a sitcom. Like,
It
this was
almost
scripted. Did they practice this?
it that was so weird. So they like met, I guess, in another random room, and like obviously they had like summoned Nicole to this
Yeah.
random room, and then they walked in there with their hands, they're holding each other's hands. They had a conversation, but it felt like almost ominous. Like it felt like
Mhm,
they were like, "Don't worry about it because you dropped it," and it just like felt
mhm.
like a little creepy. Like I
Yes.
don't know, the vibe was a little bit like maniacal to me.
Little did you know she was in the secret killer room where like they
Right.
click a button and like machetes and swords and all these things come from the wall, and it's like,
Right. Yeah.
pick which weapon.
Ugh,
This is
yeah.
the worst ending to a game of Clue you could have.
Yeah, Terry, like, I don't know, something about Terry is like, ooh, to me, and that was like very much like you're right. Like the laughing seemed like a little scary.
Yeah, it almost seemed planned. Like, by the
Yeah,
way, let's make sure we say this. Um, I do think though, and maybe this is just me because I don't want to say that sitting on secrets is hard. I can keep secrets. I will keep my mouth shut. However, if I think there's something that needs to be said to just like for the benefit of a relationship, because here's the thing, like, no one else needs to be involved in this. This
right,
whole thing could have not happened if when Heather and Nicole started being friends, like 6, 7 years ago,
right.
Nicole was just like, hey,
Yeah, awkward subject.
So kind of small world here, but this happened. I dropped, especially because she dropped the suit. It's not like
right.
she followed
And
through
she
on
was so
it.
young. She was what, like
Right.
18 to 20, something like that.
Yeah, like I don't even think she could legally drink yet.
Right.
That like so like just want to let you know, hopefully like this isn't a big deal, and if it
Mhm.
is, I can understand, but um like I don't think I would have been able to ride through, especially as their friendship like went along. You had 6-7 years to say this.
Right.
Instead, like you waited till you had your opportunity to maybe be a friend of, or a
Yeah.
castmate on Real
Right.
Housewives for this to come up. So
Right.
yeah, I just thought that like for how good the TV was for the situation that we saw and how entertaining it was, if you take a step back and just like analyze the situation objectively, like so a $36,000 housewarming party got shut down before the meal was even served because of a lawsuit that didn't happen.
Right.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, the ending of the party was a little bit of an overreaction for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So now we almost have like some teams forming here,
Mhm.
some
Mhm. Mhm.
alliances, if
Mhm.
you will.
Yep.
If we were to power rank some alliances here, I think our number one alliance is undisputedly Shannon and causing shit. No, I'm just kidding. Is Gina and Emily.
Yes.
I think a budding alliance out of desperation would be Shannon and Noella.
Yes. Agreed.
Where's Dr. Jen? And is she just like is she the swing vote in all this?
I
Like,
think she's probably the swing vote. It seems like Heather and Gina are really reeling in Heather.
mm-hmm,
And you just know that Shannon and Heather just don't like each other.
mm-hmm,
They have history. It's very obvious that they don't like each other. So they don't, they're not going to join forces here and like be the two OGs and take it by storm. Like
mm-hmm.
they just don't like each other. So of course there's going to be conflict there.
Yep. And then a new alliance that probably already has a nickname, which is the New York Alliance
Hmm.
of Heather and Gina. Do we foresee there being some tension from Emily because she's being neglected
Oh,
by this?
maybe.
I could easily see that happening
I could see that happening. I could see that
because
happening.
I mean, something that was said in one of the first two episodes, probably the first one, was that yeah, like Gina and I are back to being best friends. Like
Yeah.
when our friendship wasn't good, it's because when like one of us wasn't doing well. And so
Right.
I think she very much views them as a pair. And so
I
if
agree. Yeah.
there's three's a crowd, so I could see there being some drama there. So Dr. Jen's our swing vote. We've got Shannon with Noella, kind of just because Vicky's not around to make
Hmm.
up with. Tamara's not around to make up with. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how I think Heather gets along with Dr. Jen because of like
Yeah.
they have their plastic surgery. I mean, given it's her husband, but
Yep. Yep. Yep.
connection. So yeah, I don't know how cohesive of a group we're going to be getting on this season. I think it's going to be a lot of like us versus them, and
Yeah, I think so too.
the us's and them's might ebb and flow as
Hmm.
someone does something unnecessarily dramatic, like not sue someone's husband.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right. Do you want to talk more about this party real quick?
Sure.
So when I think of $36,000, I think of like a pretty nice new car.
Yeah.
$36,000 worth of sushi. You can't even like eat that for leftovers. That is like a one night meal.
I want to know like what was the order? Show me the order. How much sushi do you get from Nobu for 100 $36,000? Like that's what I want to know. What does that get you?
Mm. I mean, the most expensive sushi roll I've eaten, which if anybody goes to Chicago, go to Yuzu Sushi. Their shit is banging. They're these big rolls. When I say that, like anywhere between 10 to 12 inches long, depending on the roll, and cut into like 8 to 10-ish pieces. And they are like baseball size. Like they are big,
Oh, wow.
right? That's $20. And it comes with this cool art that they do with the sauce, and the sauce is real good. That's $20 for one roll. And I think that's expensive. So, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing with that much? And then the way that Terry was just like, wow,
That's infuriating.
that's
That's what he
so,
said.
I'm
That's
so
infuriating.
mad
Yeah.
that we just wasted $36,000. Like,
Like, it didn't even, like, not even a flinch.
if I wasted $36,000 right now, I would be in a sleeping bag on a sidewalk somewhere.
Donate that money to somebody. If you have $36,000 to spend on sushi alone, you need to be donating more money.
And
Maybe
the
they
fact
donate, but they should be donating more. Something should say to you, this is inappropriate. What the amount of money I'm spending on this food is inappropriate. People in this country don't have clean water. I should be doing something better with this money.
the
It's
fact,
almost like it's so out of touch to me that it's like
yeah,
offensive.
yeah, well, because no, the most offensive part to me is not ordering $36,000 worth of
Throwing it
sushi.
away.
Exactly, is it you deciding that
You
there's
wasted it.
no way that this party can go on, even though you just spent all, the last thing that would happen in that situation for me, no one be leaving. If anything, everybody would be calling up a +1 to make sure it all got finished. Like,
Yes. Yes.
so, and the way she just like walked in there holding her champs, which I hate when she says that. I
Me
like
too.
Heather, but I hate the champs thing.
I'm happy she's back. I think she makes good TV. She's not my favorite.
I
I
like what
enjoy
she
watching
brings
her,
to
but
the
she's,
show, and
yeah.
I think she's like a good voice of reason to an extent, but also this is incredibly unreasonable. Like, she's a
Yes.
good, I think she has good like emotional intelligence. She
Mm-hmm.
has good interpersonal skills. She carries on a conversation very well. Like, I like watching her in scenes, but then when you bring in like her lifestyle, that's where she loses me a bit, because I
Mm-hmm.
just can't relate in the slightest to having that
Right.
much money.
And I think she knows that she has all of those positive attributes, right? And
Mhm.
that makes her very full of herself and think very highly of herself. And I feel like she has nothing tying her to reality. And it's
Mhm.
like she lives in her own world and she's the center of her own universe. And like
Mhm.
that turns me off about her.
Yeah.
And I know like before she left the last season that she was on, she had a lot of issues with production because of Kelly Dodd. And she's like, I'm above this. And second episode we saw shutting this down. I'm done. I'm done filming
Yeah.
the show. And it's like that's the kind of stuff like I don't want from a housewife.
Right.
I don't want to feel like things are off limits, even though I
Mhm.
know there are things that are off limits. I don't
Yeah.
want to feel like things are off limits, and that's like immediately I'm like, ugh, she thinks she's kind of like if a Bethany comes back, or like
Mhm.
something like that where they think they have more control over the situation than they should.
Yeah.
That's when I'm out.
Mhm. No, I get that. I can see that. Yeah, it feels like she has a bit too much like opportunity to dictate what's going on
Yeah.
versus
Hmm.
I'm signing up to be on a reality TV show. They're supposed to film what happens.
Right.
Um, no, I definitely get that. I like what she can personality wise bring to the group in
Yes.
terms.
Yeah, I
I
do
don't
enjoy
I
watching
don't
her.
know if this group needs her personality as much as other groups would have needed her
Hmm.
reasonable approach to things, and like
Hmm.
the kind of like she's more or less like the mom of the group. Like the way she scolded Shannon, dude, I thought that she was gonna have to go home and not have dessert for a week. Like, no allowance. She scolded her. There's no, like, she could have been Bart Simpson after writing like, I
Right.
will
Right.
not talk about lawsuits that didn't happen, and writing that on the chalkboard 100 times
Right.
after as her punishment, because like the way that she got reprimanded by Heather.
I have a real problem with some of these housewives that take people reprimanding them that way and just eat it. It happens with
Mhm.
Erica Jane all the time. Mary Cosby, I think, is another one.
Mhm.
Who are you? You're a grown ass woman and you're letting this other grown ass woman talk to you like that and put their finger in your face and talk to you
Mhm.
like you're a child. I have a problem with that. I would have
Mhm.
a huge problem with that. I would never let somebody talk to me that way.
Talking to me that way wouldn't happen. I don't know if this is like a hot or bad take. unless someone is doing what Emily was doing to Nicole and like literally pushing her, I don't have like, I feel a lot of times it's like, get that finger on my face. Like people are 3, 4, 5 feet apart and are just kind of like
Yeah.
thising it, you know, like wagging,
Wagging?
waving. I wouldn't say wagging and waving and came up with wagging. So here we go. We are just creating a language here. That I don't have so much a problem with like the finger that gets brought up so often in
Mhm.
these like, oh my god, my dog just yawned in such a cute way. Sorry. It had a little noise to it and he has a big head back and okay, anyway. I'm obsessed with my dog. So I but yeah, it's the way that if someone talked to me that way, that wouldn't be the
Yeah.
last word, that is for sure.
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad take. I think it depends
I think the
on
finger
the
part
tone
was
of it
my
all.
take that
Yeah.
like that gets brought up. Get
Yeah.
your finger on like no one the only person I've seen have a finger in their face in a while is actually Nicole having a finger in her chest multiple times.
Yes.
But
Yes.
um yeah, I kind of an argument loses its like fun for me sometimes when someone brings up the finger because that to me means you are looking for something to attack that
Mhm.
is not the argument itself.
Right.
Um
Yeah, I agree.
And I just love a good factual concrete argument. I don't need my body language brought into this. I can't control my hands sometimes. Like
Right. Yeah, some people are just
I'm in the heat of the
expressive with
moment.
their hands.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have other things from Orange County that you want to talk about?
I don't think I do. I think we covered most of it. I'm excited to see where this season goes and
Mm-hmm.
how kind of some of these relationships play out. I think it's good so far.
Yeah, they
I'm happy.
definitely.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, they definitely are. Like they started the season well and I think they knew they had to with just bringing in this many new people,
Yeah.
and
The
so
stakes were
no.
high.
Yes, they met him.
Hmm.
I'm happy
Yep.
with it. I was
Yeah.
definitely ready to watch the second episode after the first one ended.
Me too.
Um, but yeah, that is our coverage for this week. Like we
Yeah.
said, we'll finish the girls trip next week. We will have Salt Lake City next week and Orange County next week.
Yes. Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
might be able to move into having the two so we can maybe circle back to Erica Jane. We keep saying it, but it's just Bravo throws so much content at us.
I know it's a lot. We have a lot happening right now, and I believe Miami is back.
I haven't watched.
Um,
I didn't know Miami was a thing. Was Miami like a long time ago and now it's back?
it was a
Tell me
long
the
time
hip.
ago, yeah.
Okay.
I think it was only 2 seasons. It was a long time ago. It wasn't a
Okay.
super hit, so they put it on like a indefinite hiatus, and
Okay.
then Peacock. It's back on Peacock. It's not on Bravo proper.
Oh.
It's on Peacock. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Chances of me getting to that anytime soon. If you're looking for
Yeah.
that coverage, sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so next week, you know it's coming, and we'll definitely be back next week at some point. We're switch days haven't been consistent. If you are someone who likes routine, we're sorry. We're working on our lives.
Yeah. We have real life.
Yeah, it's just
Unfortunately.
yes. Unfortunately, if I could just sit and watch Real Housewives and then talk about it, and that was my real life, that'd be dope. I would
It's
be
the
doing this
goal.
more consistently for
Yeah,
you,
it's the
but
goal.
I'm trying to like make moves that I accidentally announced on a podcast that I hope no one from my job listens to. Okay. Come on, Carrie. I'm trying to find the social media banners. Okay, it's not gonna be under comments. Example banners. Nope. Brand. Am I dumb? Yes. Okay. Hold on one second. Example banners. Cool. I'm just gonna create a new one because apparently there's one for follow me here. Maybe I just made this. Follow Katie. So Katie, what are you doing outside of talking about Real Housewives that the people can watch you on or
You can
consume
watch
your
me on
content?
Twitch. Yeah, you can consume me on
Okay.
Twitch at twitch.tv/realslimkatie with an underscore. Or you can follow me on Twitter at realslimkatie with no underscore. And yesterday I had a really fun stream, watched a few Real Housewives music videos on stream. So really trying to talk more about some of that stuff. And we talk about Survivor and Big Brother and all these other types of things too. And if anybody wants to talk about the new Sex in the City, I'm here. I'm your girl. I'm ready to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I'm ready to talk about it and I have a lot of thoughts. So my DMs are open.
Which music videos did you watch?
Watched It's Expensive to Be Me, or Expensive, I
Mm-hmm.
think is the official song. And How Many Fucks Do I Give? And then cleared the palette with Money Can't Buy You Class, and then
Mm-hmm.
the new Countess Christmas song, What Do I Want for Christmas, featuring all of the New York Housewives. It was a
Oh,
train
is
wreck,
that the
but it was
one
a
that
lot of fun.
they like filmed in the last season?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. And I could
Okay.
have gone on for hours watching all the Housewives music videos, but no, I don't know if anybody was really interested in it. So I really was
Similar.
doing it for myself, not for anybody else.
Happens to the best of us. That's how I feel like every time I talk about Taylor Swift. So, um, my Instagram and Twitter is KGD26. My Instagram is filled with pictures of my dog. My Twitter is currently also filled with pictures of my dog. I don't know if you saw it, Katie, but so as I mentioned, it was Nitro's birthday on Thursday. And my dog's favorite thing is going to dog daycare. So I normally bring him Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, but with his birthday being on Thursday, we went Monday, Thursday, Friday. And so,
Aw.
in addition, they also just started doing grooming um at my daycare. So he needs to be groomed. His chest grows in a lot, and like he was having these he's gone through waves. This is the second time he's done it where he was like pulling hair out of his tail.
Mm.
And so the top half of his tail had like none of the extra hair that like golden retrievers have, that like full tail, right? But the bottom half did, but like some parts were ripped out. He looked homeless. It was so
Aw.
we're going home for the holidays to Connecticut, and I needed his tail to I just didn't want to listen to that ridicule
Yeah.
for the whole time I was there. So I was like, all right, please groom him. And so I talked to them and they're like, yeah, like anything you want, like just make his tail not look dumb. That's the only thing. Like do
Aw.
everything. I will pay for everything, like nails, ears, brush his teeth, like de-shed. I don't care how much it costs, just do it. Because I don't like doing any of those things.
Yeah.
I want someone else to be the enemy, right? So get him back. His tail looks great, except it looks like they cut the tip of his tail off the way they they cut the hair, like tip of his tail not gone, but it is very much like if like how
Oh
kids
my
used to
God.
look like where they would get like the bowl put on their head and
Yeah.
then just like parents would cut around the
Mhm.
bowl. It's like a version of that for dogs. And
Oh my
I
God.
can't see his
Well,
tail
it'll grow
without
back hopefully
laughing.
by
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
time
mean,
you go home.
listen, I could have it fixed. I had him brought, or like he was back at daycare the next day. The groomer is there. And I tipped this guy like 50%. So if I
Wow.
wanted it to be fixed, I think he would do it for me, right? But
Yeah.
also my roommate wasn't home and I wanted to see his face, like his facial expression reaction to like seeing Nitro's tail look like the
Aw.
tip got cut off. So I think I've decided I'm just gonna keep it that way because it makes me so happy looking at his tail and just see it looks like the tip. No
I'll
dogs
have to
are
look.
harmed
You
in
posted it
this.
on Twitter? I'll have to look.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
post,
see it,
and
but I'll have to look.
there's like one of the photos I took. It's just like classic Nitro facial expression, just like leave me the fuck alone. So I'm like
Aw.
holding his tail up so that his like face is in the back, and he just like does not look entertained by me in the
Aw.
slightest. Which, to be fair, I was annoying him. But anyway, that's currently all the content that I have is my dog's
It sounds like good content.
it I thought it was funny. And
Yeah,
even if it's just me thinking it's funny, like most of my jokes are for me, and if anybody else laughs, it's just
exactly. Added
bonus.
bonus. Yeah,
Yeah. Like that's why I'm here is to make me laugh. If I don't, who will? So
exactly.
if you want to follow, this is what you're missing out on is my dog's tail. Uh, that's it. So, all right. If you have not done this yet, I don't know. Oh, well, first of all, let me get rid of this. Hold on. Get out of here, Kari. There we go. If you aren't following us yet on our different platforms, I don't know what you're waiting on, like 2022. It's coming up fast anyway. So just get a head start,
True.
right? So we are on Twitch at Silent Podcasts. We are Twitter at silent_podcast and YouTube Silent Podcast. We're very easy to find. Again, we are anything but silent. If there's stuff that you want covered, we have people who are willing to talk about stuff. So just leave in the comments or tweet at us. Tweeting at us is probably the best bet. and we'll get people to talk about things you like. So, but that is really it. We are, again, Silent Podcast for Anything But Silent, the Cool Water Show. We will be back for episode 4 next week with our whole rundown that we gave you. But until then, enjoy your week, and may all of the drama be worthy of your time for
Yes.
Housewives drama. No real life drama, only Housewives drama.
Yes.
All right, we will catch you next time.
Bye.